こんにちは。テニスソールのお時間です。今回は誰でもプロネーションが習得できる3つのドリルを紹介したいと思います。初心者の方はプロネーションを使ってサーブを打つことに苦手意識を強く持つでしょう。しかし、サーブのスピードアップ、回転量アップのためには、プロネーションを習得することは必要不可欠です。冒頭のスローモーション動画をもう一度確認してみてください。サーブを武器とするトッププロたちはプロネーションを最大限に使い、爆発的なサーブを打球しています。ビッグサーブを打ちたい、回転を多くかけたいという悩みを抱えている方は必見です。海外で人気のテニスコーチたちの動画を参考に、プロネーションを習得するためのドリルを紹介していきたいと思います。ぜひ最後まで見ていってください。
First, we're going to begin with a three-step how to throw. All you need is a tennis ball and any open space, preferably someplace with a wall where you can throw the ball against. And you're going to begin by turning to the side of the direction that you intend and start by taking your arm and your hand back. Now, your setup position is going to be sideways with your hand facing forwards or sideways to the direction where you intend to throw. And what's going to happen here as you rotate forwards is your hand will rotate in towards you, and then it'll rotate back out again. So what's happening here is your hand is initially facing out, then facing in, and then facing out again. So out, in, out. This is the mechanical foundation of a good overhand motion. And it has to do with how you're using your shoulder, how you're using your forearm and your hand, and syncing that with the rotation of your body. So we'll begin by doing that in kind of a segmented fashion at first so that you can really see and feel those different positions as you move through them. Slowly and gradually, you want to start making that a fluid, smooth motion where your body's rotating forwards and your hand is facing out, then in, then out. Out, in, out, and you start to make that a continuous, fluid, smooth motion. And then eventually, you want to take a ball, and as you go smoothly and slowly through that motion, actually start to release the ball and throw it towards a wall. Now, I highly recommend that you start off very slow and relaxed. In fact, being fluid and smooth and slow and relaxed at first is essential so that you can be aware of what your body mechanics are. You get a feel for those different positions, and you can really control what you're doing and do it correctly. Then, as you start to get comfortable, you can start to accelerate a little more, but as soon as you feel like you start to lose those mechanics and those different positions, slow it back down again, gain some awareness, and make sure that you're doing it correctly and smoothly without getting tight and tense. Now you have a step-by-step practice plan that you can use at home to learn how to throw correctly, and this is the foundation for a good serve. And this will keep you away from those embarrassing-looking throws and service motions that you've undoubtedly seen at your local courts that look very weak and just basically pushing the ball over to the other side. Just like a weak throw that you'll see somebody execute who doesn't know how to use their shoulder, arm, and body correctly.
Next up, I have a clever drill for you that's going to help you with your motion. It's also going to help you pick up the ball more like a professional too. So it's really kind of simple in a way. I'm going to put the ball down on the ground here, and I'm going to get a continental grip, and I'm going to learn how to skillfully pick the ball up using the continental grip, okay? So when I do this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have the continental grip, and I'm going to come down to the ball on edge. So I'm going to here, and as I'm coming down, I'm going to rotate through the shoulder so the strings begin to face the ball. And then I'm going to measure. And what I mean by measure is that I'm going to put the strings on the ball so that the racket is not touching the court. So I've got a nice soft hand, and I'm just going to relax and pop the ball up. I'm going to do that with the continental grip. Okay, let me show you from a side view here as well. Okay, ball's down, continental grip. I come in, I put my right foot closer just so I'm in a more comfortable alignment. This would be more of a twisty kind of weird thing. So I just put my right foot a little closer, coming on edge, turn it in, measure, up she comes, okay? Now, as you get more skillful at that, and you know your racket's not gonna bang on the court, you can come down in one motion and you can just pick it up. It'll come up like that for you. One of the things that does happen with this that's common that I see is the arm will go straight down and then the racket will be horizontal this way, and now you have to use your wrist, and you'll never get that ball up. The idea here is that the wrist really can't move that way, and it doesn't move that way on the serve either. It can't flick. So when you come down here, you're just turning from the shoulder, measuring, up she comes, okay? And you want to skillfully get to the point where you can just do that, pick the ball up like a pro. And you're really learning how to bring those strings to the ball. So even though it's not exactly like a serve motion because you come to the ball and you hold it there, it's going to help quite a bit. And this angle, this is really important too, is that when I do this, the racket could never be straight out from my hand this way, my arm, because look how weak I am, how uncomfortable I am. So when I'm here, the racket's really going to be inside the hand. And this angle really mimics the angle of contact. So when you're making contact on your serve, it's got to be in a more relaxed position where the shoulder joint is sort of floating and the racket head is inside the hand. And I pick it up exactly the same way, that little angle inside. It's also going to help you build the skill of pronation into contact.
I want you to toss the ball up into the air, and then once you've caught the ball, relax with your hand, and as you can see, my hand is edging outwards towards the side of the court. So I'm going to do one toss with the ball, catch and relax, and as you can see, my hand is turning outwards. If I were to have a racket in my hand and do the exact same motion, where are my strings facing? Out to the side. So it's like you're high-fiving your partner next to you if you were to serve. High five to the side. Another way to practice this exercise is by kneeling. And what you want to imagine is that when you're reaching up to make contact with the ball, as you can see, my elbow is nice and high, and my strings are facing towards the camera. And it's like as my racket was to touch the floor, this is how my end product of my pronation wants to finish. Just like so. Relaxed, finish. Relaxed. So I want you to notice carefully where my racket is facing from the edge, so that when I'm pronating, then it's going to finish outwards.
今回は誰でもプロネーションを習得できる3つのドリルを紹介しました。1つ目はプロネーション投球、2つ目はポンチでボールピックアップ、3つ目は膝立ちサーブでした。プロネーションを身につけるためのドリルは他にもたくさんあり、今回のドリルでうまくいかなかった方たち、もっと他のドリルを知りたいという方はコメントを残しておいてください。後日他のドリルを紹介したいと思います。お待ちしております。今後このようにテニス選手やテニスコーチ、テニスファンに役立つ情報をどんどん発信していくので、ぜひチャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。最後にもう一度トッププロたちのサーブのスローモーション動画を見てみましょう。特にプロネーション部分に着目し、イメージトレーニングを行ってください。